There is a quote that has just been coming up over and over and over again in sessions that I'm having with clients and in conversations that I'm having with parents and teachers, and when I travel and speak at trainings, and even in my keynote addresses. It seems to be something that is consistently something that I need to remind myself of, and that I need to remind the adults in children's lives about. And here is that quote. The first time you do anything, you will be bad at it. That's right. The first time you do anything, you will be bad at it. I like to take it even a little bit further and say the first several times you do most things, you're going to be bad at it. And maybe a good example of this is learning to play an instrument. If you are learning to play an instrument, the first time you do it, you're gonna be bad at it. The first several times that you are learning this instrument, you are going to be bad at it. If you're a parent and you've ever had a child who is practicing their recorder in front of you, you know, first time they do it, they're going to be bad at it. And in their heads, it is beautiful music that deserves to be recorded and put out for the masses to hear. But the first time they do it, they're going to be bad at it. And the second time, and the third time, and over. And really, the recorder never is an instrument that somebody wants to listen to. But the first time that you do anything, you will be bad at it. We need to remind ourselves of that as we work with children. Whether they are your children, or whether they are children in your life, or children that you are hired to support. Children are doing so many things for the first time, or the first several times. And that comes down to everything. Not just math, not just learning an instrument, not just a new subject at school, but think about learning how to manage their emotions. Maybe it's the first time, or the first few, or the first several times that they are learning how to manage their emotions when they're around other kids. As adults, can we say that we do a great job of managing ourselves when we are around other people? Well, kids are doing this for the first time, or the first few times. Let's give them some grace. Or maybe it's a kindergartner who's in a classroom full of 30 other children for the very first time in their life. Let's give them some grace, because the first time, or the first few times, or even the first several times that they do it, they're going to be bad at it. If you can remember that, and if you can keep that in mind, and you can really treat children with the understanding that, you know what, yes, they are bad at this, or they are not where we want them to be, but they're doing the best they know how to do. If you can approach them with that mindset, you can have some compassion and some empathy. And then on the flip side of that, to know that they are working so hard. They are not going to be good at it. They're going to be bad at it, at least the first few times that they do something, or the first several times that they do a lot of things. But can we give them praise? Can you find ways to give them praise for the things they are doing correctly? Maybe it's with cleaning their room, and they leave the clothes all over the floor, but they got the trash out of their room. Can you praise them for getting the trash out? And yeah, you can say, hey, next time make sure you get your clothes too, but can you tell them, but wow, you got all the trash out. Just last night, I was teaching a group at a church about autism spectrum disorder. And we were talking about helping children with autism spectrum disorder learn to use the bathroom, potty training, toilet training. And for a lot of children with autism, that's a really difficult thing for so many different reasons, and it's kind of different for every child. But I was reinforcing the fact that, you know what, maybe those first few times, it's just that they're brave enough to sit on the toilet. And they're brave enough to sit there. Can you praise them for that? Even though they didn't go in the toilet, and even though there's still a long way to go, and maybe they were crying while they were sitting there, but they hopped up on it. Can you give them praise for that? And if you can do that, over time they'll see, my goodness, this adult in my life sees that I am working so hard. And even though I'm not where either of us wants me to be, they see that I am making some progress. And so that empowers me. That makes me want to make even more progress. And it makes me want to work harder. And it makes me want to push myself because I see that they see how hard I'm working. Just remember, kids are doing so many things for the very first time, or the first few or first several. We've got to give them some grace because they're going to be bad at it. But we can find the things they are doing right and let them know that we notice. That is really just something that keeps coming up. And so I wanted to share that with you today before I dive into a few questions that have come in this week across the various channels